The Backhand Blades are an absolutely amazing new weapon type added in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. If you're looking for an incredibly powerful, quick-hitting, fast and agile weapon, this is absolutely going to be the one for you. I have been plowing through everything in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC using these, and the build I'm running has been absolutely fantastic. I love how quick they are and how easy you can go from dodging to a quick combo really quick, and the Ash of War blind spot has a really decent iframes in there so you can dodge around enemies and stab them for quite a bit of damage and then continue back into your normal combo. This is an incredibly fun weapon type to use, and I've been very excited to showcase this build since I started using it yesterday. Now, one of the best parts about this weapon is it is easily obtainable within just a few minutes of getting into the DLC. From the initial Site of Grace, you can head up a little bit north to the Scorched Ruins Site of Grace, and then from here, all you need to do is ride to this location on the map just a little bit farther north, where you will see this archway, and if you run up to the archway and avoid all the enemies, you can pick up the Backhand Blade right here. Now, the Backhand Blade is a strength and dexterity weapon, and if you use the Keen Affinity, you can actually get the dexterity attribute scaling all the way up to S quality. So you can really pull a lot of damage out of this weapon. Now, I did for a while actually run it with the Flame art on there, which means I ran a Faith build because you can get the quality up to B, which actually worked really well. But for the purposes of this video, I wanted to make something a little bit more general that would work on all bosses without having to worry about any kind of resistances to fire. But if you want to run a full-blown Faith build with this, you absolutely can. If you were to go with Blood, you could get Dexterity to attribute B, and Arcane would be D, and Strength would be C, but you do get that Blood Loss build-up if you want to go for a Blood build with these two. Now, you don't have to keep the Blind Spot skill on here. I do actually personally like it, but you could change that up if you so desired. Now, I also used one other weapon with this build. For the most part, I'm using the Backhand Blades, but if I need a little bit more range, I actually use the Starline Sword with this as well because it is a dexterity build. I can use this along with it, so if I need a little bit more range, I can use the Ash of War on here to do this nice little combo right here. I think this weapon is absolutely amazing, so I'll use that against things with shields, although the Backhand Blade does work well against people with shields because you can use the Ash of War to dodge around them as well. But I like having a little bit of the additional range here, and just using this weapon during streams is so much fun because it just looks so cool. Both of these weapons are two of my favorites right now, and if you want to know more about the Starline Sword and how to get it, I did a full video review of this weapon already, and I'll leave a link to that in the description. Now, one of the best parts about the Backhand Blade is it's incredibly light, but it also counts as two weapons in one. When you initially equip it, you're only going to be holding it in one hand, which is your main hand, and you can do attacks like this if you so desire. But if you hold triangle or Y and hit R2, you're then going to have it in your offhand as well, which is going to drastically increase your consecutive attacks. This also carries over to your heavy attack for a double slash, which you can chain together as well. The only thing it doesn't carry over to is the Ash of War, where you're still going to be attacking with the main weapon. Now I am also running a bit of a Faith build with this, and for our incantations, I am using the Giant Seal, and I definitely think it is worth investing into the Faith for this. You can see our attack power and defenses in yellow over here right now, and we're using a couple of different buffs. I keep our Finger Seal in our offhand, and one of the main ones we're using is Flame Grant Me Strength, which when used, we can go into our statuses, boost this up to 1016 attack power. Then we're also using Golden Vow, which is an amazing buff. This is going to increase our attack power as well as all of our defenses, which in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, having more defense is definitely really useful. And I also have Blood Flame Blade on here if we want, which you can use. And I also have Barrier of Gold for increased magic damage reduction, which can be useful for some different bosses. Now, once you're done buffing yourself, you equip it in both hands, and wham bam thank you ma'am, you are ready to go. The amount of damage you can output with the buffs from the incantations and the damage reduction allows you to be tanky, incredibly fast, and deal a lot of damage. So I do have to say the only downside to this particular weapon is the Ash of War does take a lot of stamina to use, so it's not something you can be spamming in fights, so that is something to keep in mind. But realistically, you're not going to be using the Ash of War a lot. You can use it to dodge and take advantage of the iframes, because quite frankly, just using the light attacks is going to be all the damage you really need, and then you can use the Ash of War when you need to. Now for my talismans, I've had a lot of success using Erdtree's Favor +2, which raises our maximum HP, stamina, and equipment load. I'm also using the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, which enormously boosts physical damage negation, which if you're having trouble getting through this DLC, this one is absolutely amazing. It boosts your physical damage negation by 20%. It is absolutely amazing. So if you're getting absolutely destroyed in the Shadow Realm, I highly recommend getting this. And it's really easy to get. What you need to do is go to the drainage channel. If you don't remember how to get up to this area, you actually need to complete the puzzle here in Ordinia, a liturgical town, and you take the little teleporter that'll bring you into this area. Then you just need to progress to the drainage channel. And then from the drainage channel, we need to run out this area right here. We need to go across these roots, and we're gonna make our way right around, and we need to drop down onto this ledge right here. And then we're going to then go over to this route. And then as we get over here, instead of going all the way down, we want to get onto this ledge right here. And you're going to make your way up past that little broken part of the route onto this one. And we're going to make our way up onto this roof. Now this is where things can get a little bit sketchy because there is a hole right here and we need to go from this hole onto that kind of like pillar right there. So I found if I go from right here and kind of walk this way, we land right onto this beam. And then from this beam, we go back, and in that chest down there with those nasty little buggers is the Dragon Crest Talisman. I am also using the Shard of Alexander, which greatly boosts the attack power of skills. This one can theoretically be swapped out, but I have it equipped because it does boost the damage when we use these Star-Lined Swords skills. And since I'm using both of these, it's actually quite handy. But if you're just going to use the Backhand Blade, you're not going to be spamming the Ash of War, so using the Shard of Alexander might not really be worth it. You could instead use the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises your attack power when HP is at maximum if you're not getting hit a lot, or really any other talisman that you want. But I am also using the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, which greatly raises attack power with successive attacks. Since we are attacking so quickly with this weapon, this is a great talisman to have. Currently for my armor, I am using Rolana's Helm and Rolana's Armor, and then I have Blade's Gauntlets and Rolana's Greaves. But quite frankly, anything that has high physical damage negation is going to be useful in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. So as long as you're not getting your equip load into heavy, then I would recommend just using whatever has the highest physical damage negation or magic damage negation depending on what you're fighting. I just really like the look of this armor, so that's why I'm rocking it right now. So that really is all there is to the build. You can change it up however you like, but it is a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend checking it out. The only other thing you can really do is make sure to level up your Shadow Realm blessings. The Shadow Tree blessing is incredibly important. I've made a bunch of videos on this already, and I'll leave a link in the description on how to get up to level 8 right off the bat without having to fight any bosses, which is going to drastically increase your power in the Shadow Realm. Now, if there are any other builds you want me to cover or weapons you want me to check out, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one.